Hello, my name is John Voorhees, and I am here to talk about the Second Amendment. Tonight's speaker will be talking about why it was written. The Second Amendment was written to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government in case of a takeover after the Revolutionary War. All the way up until 1934, there had been very few gun control laws, but those laws were not what they are today. The gun laws we have faced today began in 1934 with the NFA, or National Firearms Act. That regulated suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and machine guns. Which meant if you wanted one of those items, you had to pay a $200 tax stamp. And that was unconstitutional because of what was going on with the gangsters back in the 20s and the 30s, robbing banks, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, and the attempt on President Roosevelt's life. What people don't know also about the NFA was guns and revolvers were actually put on the list, but Congress knew it wouldn't pass it, so they took them off. That is why they're non-NFA items. In 1938, Congress passed the FFL Act, which indicated that businesses and dealers would have to go through to get a license to sell guns, and I think at that time also make the guns like Colt, Remington, Winchester, and so on. And then 30 years later, after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Congress passed the Gun Control Act of 1968, which implemented a regulation on what guns could be imported, what cannot be imported. Guns like the Walther PP and PPK couldn't be imported because they didn't meet sporting purpose clauses. Machine guns could not be imported because of this act. And it also added more people to the list of prohibited categories. Back in the 30s, I think it was just those who were in the process of like bank robbers and stuff like that. This now included drug people, people with mental health, and so forth. In 1984, ATF had passed a law banning open bolt semi-automatic firearms, as it would, they claim, would be regulating to full, could be converted to easily into full auto machine guns. Some guns it could be, and other guns probably not. In 1986, with the Firearm Owners Protection Act, which was good gun legislation, a poison pill called the Hughes Amendment was passed. That law outlawed machine guns. So after May of 1986, those machine guns like the Glock 18, the FN90, and the modern M4s could not be made for civilians. Guns like the MP40, the Thompson, the Uzi, MP5s are still available for people to buy to this day. But in order to do that, you have to pay the $200 tax stamp and find one for sale, and that's going to cost you some guns between $10,000-$20,000. That is an unconstitutional act. 1989, Bush implemented the import ban, which banned certain guns from coming in, or they had to put in an extra feature to make it importable. In 1994, Bill Clinton passed the assault weapons ban under the crime bill. And this banned features of a gun. It didn't ban it, and it's not an assault rifle as it doesn't have the full auto feature. It banned a collapsible stock, a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, a bayonet lug, a flash hider, and stuff like that. That law lasted 10 years before it sunsetted in 2004. In the early 90s, the NRA had passed the NICS system, which indicated that you have to fill out, or the 4473 came with the Gun Control Act of 68, where you had to fill out the paperwork. But under this one, they had to run your background, which is a violation of the Fourth Amendment and the right of your Second Amendment. And then from 2004 up until 2012, we really didn't have much with gun control laws until after Sandy Hook. After that, President Obama, wanted to push regulations on what guns could be accessible, how a gun dealer makes money, and this ain't just about dealers, this is private transfers. Every law that has been attempted to pass has failed on federal levels because Congress knew they would lose. The votes when the midterms came up again, and I don't know how many years before the midterms, so year after year, every mass shooting has implemented with people wanting to add more and more gun control. Gun control does not work, people. Never has, never will. Now, from what I've seen from Military Arms Channel, Iraq Veteran 8888, The Gun Collective, and other channels I watch on YouTube, they want to ban bump stocks. That's right. A function of a gun that just looks cool, not accurate, but won't make it shoot like a machine gun. They had made it, the NRA had backed a lot of these anti-gun laws. They pressured President Donald J. Trump to get the fixed NICS passed, which won't do anything. People will get guns illegally, even if they can't have them. But now, coming up after midterms, they're going to try to ban a bump stock, a device that you can bump fire without a stock. You put it on and it's easier. Shocking. The bump stock ban came right after the Vegas tragedy in October of 2017, last year, where a madman went up into a hotel room and shot 50 people as fast as he could, then killed himself, which was a tragedy. Not just for those people who were shot in the crowd, but the guy took his own life. He needed to stand trial for his crime. Shortly after that, a Republican from Florida named Carlos Curbelo had introduced H.R. 3999, rate increasing device ban. And the way I read the bill and seen on a lot of these channels, it doesn't talk about bump stocks. They want to ban semi-autos. They want to ban magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. That ain't a rate increasing. It is unconstitutional to ban any accessory or the gun itself. This is why we are fighting day and night, calling our congressmen and women to oppose these gun laws. Every federal gun law on the book is unconstitutional. I once kind of supported, okay, we need some regulations, but now I'm full. Any gun law on the book is anti-gun. Period. Now look, I can get by without a machine gun. I am better with semi-auto versus full auto, but it should be my choice if I want the full auto version without paying a $200 tax stamp and registering it. I should be allowed to go into a gun shop and say, I'll buy an M16 for, let's say, $700. Buy it and just go home. No background check, nothing. This is all unconstitutional. What we want to do, we know we can't get rid of the laws already on the books. And the only law I could support is if a criminal who knows he's not supposed to have a gun is caught with a gun, needs to be put in jail. And I'm not talking pathetic crimes like an unpaid parking ticket or and stuff like that are what they call domestic violence. No, domestic violence, you got to have enough evidence. It can't just be a yelling match or something breaks in the house and somebody calls the cops. If there's physical pain on someone and they want to press charges, that is domestic violence. That's the kind of stuff that we need to pass. The stuff everyone else is trying to pass is not domestic violence. It's just people not being able to have a gun. Every gun law that has passed has failed. The Hughes Amendment failed. In 1997, two men robbed a bank in North Hollywood using armored piercing bullets, wearing body armor, and had fully automatic machine guns, full auto AKs. They were criminals, and they still got full autos. Yet, and like Tim said at Military Arms Channel, machine guns are hardly ever used in crime. Handguns would be more used in crime than machine guns. We need to show these Congress people what freedom is. They don't believe in freedom. They believe in guns for themselves, but if we are with the guns, then they blame us. We're not the criminals. They want to make us a criminal. They're saying if you own a gun, you can go to jail for 10 years just for holding a gun, being near a gun, or talking about them. This is exactly why the Second Amendment's in place. Keep ourselves safe from the government. It's not about hunting. It ain't about shooting sports. It's not about going out deer hunting. It's about keeping ourselves safe from our government. We are the government. We elect leaders to run our country. We govern ourselves, like the founding fathers intended in the Constitution. That is why we have the freedoms we do. Now, I'm more of a surplus gun collector. So I'll go for guns like Mausers, Carcanos, SKSs, M1s. But does that mean I'll say, oh, you don't need an AR-15? That's not a cool gun. That ain't me. If you have an AR-15, that's good. I like AR-15s, but I like historical guns more. They're cool, and I would rather buy those. But I will not go up to someone and say, oh, you don't need that. That's a piece of crap. You got a good old M1 here. One of the best guns ever. And Patton called that the greatest battle implement ever devised. If he would be alive to this day and seen a lot of the guns out there, he'd be supporting them. He'd be saying these are great guns. Everyone should have one. Our military, we paid in the 1700s, in 1775, I believe, or was it before that, that we had a revolution to free ourselves from England. All we had back in the day were muskets. Well, over centuries of years, guns developed from muskets to repeaters, bolt action to semi-auto. It's not a gun that kills a person. It's a person that kills a person. Liberals like us to think, oh, the Second Amendment's only for hunting. You don't need anything more than 22 to kill a deer. They also believe that, oh, well, when the Second Amendment was written, it was only for muskets. Well, then the First Amendment should only apply to a wooden printing press because that's what they had back in the day. They didn't have laptops. They didn't have cell phones. They would argue and say, well, the First Amendment's different. No, everything is part of the Constitution. That is why our founding fathers put it down. If we could go back in time and make a time machine, go back in time and show our founding fathers guns like the M16, the Thompson, the M4, the semi-automatic AR-15s. Every gun they'd see and say, these are all protected under the Constitution. What they're doing is wrong. And you can vote them out of office, as it says in the Constitution. Our founders never. Now, they couldn't have imagined ARs and AKs. That's why when the Second Amendment was written, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Not changed, not touched. But we are already facing that with the laws we have on the books. These laws, people, will slowly strip us of our rights over time. They slowly did that basically with the machine guns. First, they regulated them with the NFA. Then they controlled them in 1968 with the Gun Control Act. Then in 1986, they banned any gun after that date. What's next? Oh, well, then the machine guns made before that they can go after. Yeah, they could. They can go, any machine gun, I don't care when it was made, shall be banned. And if you're in possession, you're going to have to get rid of it. No. We have enough laws on the books. Every law is unconstitutional. Instead of adding more laws, enforce the laws that are currently on the books. The only law that I support is if a criminal who's had a very lengthy record, extreme danger, and I'm not talking like, oh, well, this person so is a conservative, I don't like him, I don't want him to have a gun. No. If this person has had a history of being put into jail, maybe a few days, maybe he didn't do anything real bad, but then he started armed robbery, break-ins, where he used a gun and got sentenced, but he gets out. Now he can change and get his rights back. But I'm talking extreme dangerous criminals too. I'm not talking dumb stuff like parking tickets. But if a person with an extreme danger, and you can tell if this person is a threat to anyone, 100%, and not just by someone's word, but physical abuse, if cops had to be called on him, like the Parkland, Florida shooter, who had the cops at his house numerous times, or the Sandy Hook killer, who broke the law, killed his mother, and took her guns and went into that elementary school and did that shooting. Those people, if they are caught with a gun and they've had that criminal record and they know they ain't supposed to have them and they want to do harm, and the cops catch them, put them in jail. Don't release them early, because those are the people that are making good gun owners look bad. We are not here to cause harm. Not one NRA member or GOA member has killed anyone with a gun. The liberals like to label us that way because they're going to say, well, you're the ones who won't vote for reasonable gun control. There's no reasonable laws. Every law is unconstitutional. They know it. If they want gun control, then they got to get rid of their bodyguards. Hollywood hypocrites have to get rid of their bodyguards if they believe in gun control, but they won't. They want us to not be armed. They want us defenseless to do what they want. That's why every country in Europe with strict gun control is able to do this. Britain has some of the strictest gun laws, and yet their crime rate's breaking through the roof with knives, cars. France, Germany, Russia, Poland, and so forth. Countries like that, people are being murdered by their own governments. These laws will not do anything but to harass gun owners and make us wait. We don't need any more gun laws on the books. We need the ones that are on the books repealed right now. This is John Voorhees for Gun News. Peace.